Hello and welcome to another drive-in double feature. I'm Ryan,
I'm Nathan.
and this is the podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before I get anything to all, we have a Patreon over at patreon.com/drive-in double feature podcast. Nathan, I was traveling on my way to Miami on the connection, the Sunrail connection,
Oh, wow.
and I ran into some gang members and some ninjas. And luckily, there's like a nice friendly group of Tae Kwon-Do people to help me out. And after I helped to beat up the ninjas,
Oh, yeah. Wow.
um,
You fought off ninjas?
yeah, I helped too.
Oh, good job.
And
You probably did the
they're
best,
like,
man.
I don't like to brag, Nathan, okay? But
Okay.
I held my own. That's
Okay.
all I'm
All
gonna
right.
say. And and after the words, this gang, I said, "Oh, I appreciate your help." And they're like, "Well, one thing you should appreciate is Nathan and Ryan's Patreon over for Driving Double Feature Podcast. Patreon.com/Driving Double Feature Podcast has some fun games, some conversations over there, enough time to have a good old grand time over there for only $5 a month, which doesn't affect any regular content." I said, "Oh, okay." And he said, "I hope Nathan and Ryan know how much we appreciate them." And I said, I think they know.
I I don't know. Not until they protect me.
Hey, well, you got to go out.
Okay,
So,
but I don't. Yeah, I have to sit inside all day.
but anyway, yep, only $5 a month doesn't affect any regular content. Anyways, today we are talking about 1988's Miami Connection, which is directed by Richard Park and Y.K. Kim. Um, this movie, not to dox us, Nathan, but this movie is in Orlando, which we are very familiar with that area.
Yes.
And this movie was filmed for back in the 80s and kind of had like a very poor box office, like only showing in a couple of local theaters in Orlando, and weirdly had like a release in West Germany,
What?
but uh,
Okay.
and basically like they thought this movie was going to be this big blockbuster movie. Like YK Kim was all in. He'd gotten all a bunch of people to invest in this movie, and he thought this was going to be like some big summer blockbuster that was just going to make everybody millions.
hmm
And what ended up happening, like I said, is it released in a couple local theaters in Florida, and the movie for about 20 years was became lost media.
hmm
Just nobody had talked about this movie or anything until one day when somebody ended up purchasing. Um, it was actually Zach Carlson. He like works for the Alamo Draft House in Austin, or so they kind of look for like weird old movies and play them too. And he actually found this movie on eBay for $50.
hmm
And he screened it in Austin, and it had such a positive reception that people just went crazy for it, and they had to get it released out there.
Hey.
So,
And I own a Blu-ray copy from Draft House for this.
yep. And this was one of the Draft House's physical medias that they released. But um, anyway, not getting too far ahead of ourselves. Like I said, this movie is a movie set in Orlando, and this has all to do with a drug deal that's been interrupted by a group of ninjas
hmm
who end up stealing the drugs and going back to Orlando. And out there in Orlando, there happens to be a group of Taekwondo students that are also a band
Oh
called
yeah.
Dragon Sound.
Which is a lot of the movie. A lot of this movie is music, more than I expected.
Yeah, they have like a song called Friends Forever, and it's like Friends Forever, loyalty, honesty. And
So silly. Um, it,
Taekwondo is our way.
it reminds me a little bit of this band I know, Rex Viper.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
it gives me like a really good band. It gives me the same feelings. Um, but no,
I was supposed to go to a Rex Viper concert, but I was late. It was 5:40 and I missed
oh,
the doors open time.
sometimes you just have no time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Hmm. But this band got back together in 2012 and they performed at a convention. I saw a video of that. But none of them play in the band except for the lead singer. He does act. He's the one who made the music. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, he was
Well,
singing.
if you go back and it's because the guy's name is Angelo Gennati, I believe is how you say it, but he he's like the one with like a mullet, like really curly mullet and a
Mhm.
mustache. And he's the lead singer of the band. And like you said, he actually wrote and sung all the songs that are in this movie.
Yep.
And uh but outside of that, he's not really a major character in there. It's like the major characters in this movie are Mark and John and one of the leader of the gang, Jeff. Oh, there's also
Jim.
Jim, which is played by Maurice Smith, he is a Korean African American keyboardist for the band. Because
Oh man, good old Jim. I didn't know Jim was a lead character until about 30 minutes into this movie when he becomes a lead character out of nowhere.
yeah, and anyway, this movie has a whole lot of fighting in it too. That ends up becoming well. I'm getting way too far ahead.
Yeah, what are
So
you doing?
yeah, so what I want to say is this movie has a certain energy to it. Like I don't know what they're trying to go for here exactly. I mean,
Hmm.
like they're trying to go for like this like big action movie and like thinking like if they could change the world with Tae Kwon-Do.
Yeah, like bring world peace or something through Tae Kwon-Do, which is actually a sentiment shared by the director. I watched the behind the scene. There's like a making of feature, which I don't think is really good, and I'll go into that a little bit later. But truly believes Tae Kwon-Do can like bring peace and like change the world for the better. And yeah, that's like the idea of the movie. But you're right, this movie has like an odd energy because like I don't know. It definitely it's all the things that somebody in the 80s would think is badass, and let's try to squeeze all that in there. Taekwondo, motorcycles, ninjas. We got bullies in here at one point, a rock band, and it's all jumbled together in this mess of a movie. It is such a messy movie, but like and I'll harp on this. It has heart. It is a one. It's like The Room, where you know the guy who made it just really believed in this and just believed in this awful movie they were making. Like there is a vision there.
Yeah, he totally was all in on this movie, and you could tell because I mean,
Hmm.
one, he's the director of this movie, and all these kids are supposed to be, college age students, but he is very clearly like much older than everybody, and
Oh, he's so old.
well,
Yeah.
like it's supposed to be like everyone's in college, and at the time of filming, he was 40 something, like early
Wow.
40s. So he was definitely like not even close to being a college age student because um, they all lived out in Orlando. Like he lived in Orlando and basically like he knew a lot of people out there. And that's how he ended up getting this movie financed. And you can kind of, I mean, it is weird. Like this movie is weirdly kind of like a love letter to Orlando because it's like
Yeah.
has so many uh I like monuments that I recognize, like, when they
Mhm.
go like to Church Street or whatever, and it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, I know exactly where those buildings are. And just
Yeah, that's the big one is when they go to Church Street in downtown Orlando. I was just like, oh, wow. And it's completely dead. It's the middle of the night and they do this huge scene. That, and then we both, I don't know if you want to say this, but we both went to UCF, University of Central Florida, and that's a big one. That is a huge part of this movie is the scenery of that. And like literally anytime they're on UCF, I was like, oh my God, yeah, I know where that's at. I know that's the
I
library. That's the student union.
I knew exactly like all those buildings. I'm just like, oh my God, there's the Nielsen fountain. There's
Yes.
like,
Yeah, it that was that's like one of the I mean, it's fun on its own, but something about knowing Orlando helps that movie like just be even more like eye candy because I feel like Orlando doesn't get brought up in movies very much, and I know why, but it's cool to see it.
well, like so I don't know. I mean, when we didn't go to UCF at the same time, I know
Yeah.
that. So um, I took a minor in cinema studies there,
Hmm.
and I remember that was probably like 2012 around there, 2013, something like that. And I remember like because I had to go through like the film department or whatever for some of my classes, and it's just
Hmm.
there would be posters for this movie everywhere because like people were like all in on it, just being like, oh my God, like the movie, there's an action movie that takes place in Orlando, and half of it is like in at UCF.
That's crazy because I don't remember that at all. But maybe they were all taken down for posters for the Crimes of Passion.
No, I remember that poster being
Yeah. Oh,
up, and
yeah. I think that one's been there for a while.
yeah, it's I remember that one of our professors, or at least I had him, was like he
Mhm.
was a well-known screenwriter. So,
Yeah, one of the, like the more famous people that work there, famous in quotations, I should say.
hey, hey, he wrote a Liz Taylor movie, so
Yeah, you made it. I think that's pretty cool. Um, but no, yeah, no, I had learned about this movie though from like its connections to Orlando, and I think I was going to school at the time when I realized, oh, there was a movie that was shot at UCF. That's really funny. And it's most, I mean, there's daytime shots, but it's a lot at night. One thing I was really impressed by for this movie is the amount of extras in this movie. Was it me or like was the screen full of people a lot of the times? Like there was a scene where they're walking through UCF and behind them is just a huge crowd of people on the college campus walking behind them. It was very surprising.
yeah, well, just or the amount of like ninjas they had, like, or
Yeah.
just the amount of people that they would have in those scenes. So yeah, I do remember thinking like that was like a certain flavor to it. Like they were able to get so many people in the movie.
Yeah.
Um, One thing I do want to mention, like I like too, like the little like random moments where they get it's just them like talking about something that's not even has nothing to do with the plot or whatever. Like they were talking about like, like we need to go around the world to because the group that they're in was like this big like a mixture of like a very diverse like
Oh yeah.
group of a band group. You had like white, black, Asian, all that stuff in there.
Hmm.
So it was just kind of like they're all mixed in together, and they're like, we should all go to our own countries, like where we originate from, and we should, play music there, and then like we visit all the famous Taekwondo studios out there. I'm just like, because it's like, yeah, I'm from Israel. It's like, oh well, we have to go to
That was the one
Ireland
that made me
too.
laugh. When he was like, we can go to Israel and visit the Taekwondo class there. I
And
don't
I'm like
know.
thinking like, oh, did you notice like how one of the guys, the tall, skinny one, like how he would say Taekwondo? He's like Taekwondo, like
Oh yeah,
Taekwondo.
he would say it so weird.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, but they all are like interesting. I there was something I liked about the Black Korean dude, Jim, because his performance is so laughably bad, and I think it's just like his tone of voice, it just doesn't work. And in the making of featurette I watched, he actually was a really likable guy. Like he seemed like just like a really nice dude in real life. Um, and that's one thing so this featurette does not do much making of. It really just hypes up the movie because a lot of these people do think like, oh, I'm so happy to see it get what it's due after all these years. And of course, the director's talking about, I think this movie could win an Oscar. It really had a chance. Very
Oh my God.
diluted thing. And I wish it was more. It wasn't. I wish it was a little
I
more behind the scenes.
I wish, like when they release something like that, like, there is some like self-reflection and being
Yeah.
like, like we didn't make a very good movie, but you know, we really did try our absolute best, and you know, we were trying
Hmm.
to put a message out there of positivity. It just fell very flat, and not a lot of people saw it. You know, it's just
Hmm.
something like, you know, that would make the movie a little more endearing. But when people are just like, yeah, it's about time, buddy. Like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, finally people like this. It's just kind of like, oh, all right. I don't think you realize why people like this movie very much. But Jim there, he seemed like he was like, yeah, I wasn't doing my best. I wasn't doing great in this movie.
well,
Um,
well, yeah, because he he has like he's like the B subplot of this movie
yes, yeah.
where basically he talks about like he never knew his father, and I guess he thought his father had been dead or like his mother lost contact with him.
Yeah, because they were
And
all
then
orphans, I believe. That's like their thing why they got together.
yeah, because his mom had died, I believe.
Hmm.
And he gets like a letter in the mail uh from his father basically just being like, I'm coming for a visit to see you. And he's just like, my father, like he's coming to see me.
Yeah, he's like so excited and like, but then he has like the emotional scene where he's like, my mom was Korean, my dad was American black, is how he put that.
American Black. That's the other thing. I was like, that's a weird way to put it, but okay.
Yeah, yeah, and he gets that letter at the end, like towards the end, where he's like, yeah, my father. That whole bit of the movie is so funny, and I didn't realize just how important that plot line was going to be toward for the end of the movie. um but during all this there's the bully, because I guess the one of the main guys in the Taekwondo is dating a girl of like this of the like just a group of bad dudes, and
Jeff.
Jeff, yeah, and they all have to they fight each other all the time. One time in Church Street in downtown, which is really funny because the guy pours beer on all their heads and they like lean into the beer.
I saw that like too. I'm like they very clearly like leaned into the beer pool. Like, oh no, you're getting
uh,
me all wet.
yeah, which I think is really funny. But like when it
Yeah.
gets to the action, it's like super slow and you can tell it's fake, but that's part of the fun of it, right?
Or they'll just be like random slow-mo moments. They'll just be like, oh yeah. Just
Yeah. Oh man. And then
and
oh, go ahead.
the well, and I was gonna say, besides Jeff, I mean, the guy playing Mark, the director of this movie, he I mean, he speaks English, but it's like very broken English, and it's just, but you know, he just kind of like he gives himself like all the best moments. He's like
Oh yeah.
he looks he makes himself look super tough and everything, and like even the scene where Jim like gets the letter from his dad, and like one of the guys is kind of like teasing him, like, oh, like I stole your letter, like try to
Hmm.
take it from me, and he's like, and then Jim is like screaming like, give it back, my letter. And Mark runs in. She's like, "What's going on? What? What's going on?" He says that like 5 times. I think.
Yes, yeah. So I guess I did know this. A lot of this movie was improv, and I guess like Mark, and I don't know about that scene, but Mark would steal improv lines from other actors. He would just like someone would say something and he would steal their line for like in the next take or something, which is funny. It's definitely a vanity project. Like through and through, it's like, oh yeah, I look so cool. There's like a whole training sequence where it's like 5, 10 minutes of the movie where like they're like practicing with a knife and he just takes them out
Yeah.
over and over
Uh,
again.
but the thing is, like when they do that scene, because they're doing it like on the UCF courtyard,
Yep.
and and I don't know if they're doing it for the benefit of the movie or what, but like it's almost like, you know, like Steven Seagal levels of
Hmm.
like training or you like sparring or whatever, because the guy will come in like jab him with the knife, but very slowly, and he'll stop mid stab,
Uh-huh.
and then like then Mark can like, you know, easily like walk around the knife and then knock it out of his hand. It's like That's not like I mean, he could jump and he could kick. I'll give him that. But like for the
Mhm.
most part, it's like what didn't look very impressive either.
No, in the movie, it does not look impressive. And I mean, I guess maybe not to like hurt people or stuff because he is a Taekwondo master, like for real. He owns a Taekwondo school
I
and
believe that.
everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, like in the movie, it's not it makes him look like a hack. It really does. Like he's doing like very like simple, slow, easy stuff. Um, yeah, but it's fun. I will say that. Like it's entertaining. Now the part that I didn't find as entertaining were all the band scenes. I could take or leave those. I do think the singing is fun, and I love the friendship song because it's so silly against all this crazy violence in this movie. But like I was like, I don't need to see them play this. I'm okay with this.
Oh no, the
Uh,
band's great.
you think so? You love it?
Yeah,
And their
I'm all
ninja
about
song?
I'm all about loyalty and honesty, okay?
Okay. All right. I get it. I get it. Um,
That may not be your thing, but it's my thing.
no, no, that's fine. I just didn't relate to the lyrics. I couldn't relate. I didn't get it.
And you don't have any friends forever. I get it.
Yep, it's the way it is. No FFs, just Bs.
Mm,
Hmm.
Best.
Yeah, just, I don't know. I'm just saying shit at this point. Um, but yeah, there is that sequence, and then there's like the weird sequence that's the motorcycle scene, which this movie, I guess I'll just say it. The movie ends with a title card that's like peace and love in the world, like well, we can end violence through peace and love. And this movie's full of violence, and then also there's just random nudity scenes, and I think these are just like real women. Like this had to have been bike week at Daytona, and it's all these women
Oh yeah.
flashing the camera, and it's like really like not unnecessary and odd.
The the biker stuff it was a little weird. I was just like, I don't really feel like the biker scenes are necessary, but uh like yeah, just like a guy sitting at a bar and he's just like kissing a woman and her boobs are just out. It's like
Yeah, and it's like women with like really bad like teeth, like bikers. Like I think like real women just flashing the camera. It's really odd. Yeah, that could have been. I mean, I think that adds to the movie's charm because I all I can think is the director just thought motorcycles are awesome. Put them in the movie.
oh, oh, boobs.
Yeah, boobs. Put it in the movie. Hell yeah. But yeah, so the movie it ends up, they cross ties and they kidnap one of the Taekwondo people and
No, yeah, they that one guy ends up the lead singer ends up getting kidnapped.
hmm
Uh and they're able to free him, but in the meantime they end up killing Jeff
hmm
and and Jeff just gets like wholly murdered by them. Like it's not even like an accidental one or anything. It's just um and the movie like you said, like they're all talking about peace and honesty, but then the movie at the very end, like is almost like a massacre scene, just like
Yeah,
so much blood.
I was surprised how violent it gets because there's like swords involved and they stab people and there's blood everywhere and like they're beat up. And it looks like Florida. I think it's like filmed in that little area behind the student union where there's like the bridge that goes through like the woods. I'm pretty sure it's there because there is some shots there. Um, but yeah, and I mean they get bloodied and dirty and it's like so different from the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it's a very long sequence because the climax of this movie is actually um the guy playing Jim. He finds out like his father's going to be coming, and
Mhm.
they've got like a whole like day and plan that they're going to meet, and like the group like all kind of pools their money together to buy him a nice suit, and
Yep.
he's got like a he gets so now he's got a suit on, and he's like they're out walking to go meet his dad, but then
hmm
a ninja runs by and like slices him, and
Yeah.
like he lets out like a really horrific like he screams so hard like ah.
Yeah, yeah, it's insane what he's doing. Yeah, it made me laugh. Which it shouldn't. It shouldn't. But yeah, did you know this movie has an alternate ending?
God does it.
But yes, there is an alternate ending for the movie. Um, what happens in the original cut is Jim dies. So he gets cut. They're in the car and they're on their way to the hospital. And for whatever reason, they stop by the Orlando airport. It's where it's shot. And he dies in the car. And then a plane passes by overhead. And they say, that's the plane Jim's dad was on. And then the movie ends, which is insane. Just a downer, complete downer. And so that ending, so they shopped this movie around and nobody would buy it. And then was going to buy it, but they had to re-edit it and put a new ending on it. So they actually came back a few years later for the actual ending in the hospital when Jim's dad shows up and everybody's alive.
You know, it's funny. So at the end of this movie, like you said, like they killed all the ninjas. But there's this big brutal massacre. Like Jim is alive, and he comes out. He's just like, oh, like he's like, oh, like that was a close one, but he's like totally fine.
Yes, yeah.
Uh, and Jim's dad is there, who's just like, yes, I am Jim's father. Just like,
Just some
eh,
guy.
just some guy, and I think it was, I don't know, he didn't look very much like him, I thought, and it was just
No.
kind of like, and at the end, he looks at Mark, and it's just like, thank you, Mark, like due to your friendship, you saved Jim or whatever, and I'm like, no, like Jim was put in the spot because of Mark, like.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like he would be fine if he didn't know who Mark was.
That's very true, and he could have met you, and like his life would be normal. And yeah, you're absolutely right. But no, it becomes like this thing about friendship, and they put that title on there, and like that title being on there is like such a like. In any other
But
movie, it would piss me off. I feel like because like the ending is insane.
well, I mean, like the whole time, like they're really hammering it home that they want to bring peace and love and all that, but then, like you said, it's just a super bloody ending.
Hmm.
Um, and then, like you said, then they flash that card. It's like, oh, that just seems entirely hypocritical, but okay.
Yeah,
But
I wouldn't expect any less from this movie, to be honest with you. This mess of a movie.
yeah, so that's pretty much how it is. Like I said, this movie ended up getting like a second life.
Hmm.
It fell into obscurity, and then it was discovered in the draft house, and because of that, it led to the draft house like contacting YK Kim and basically being like, "Hey, like we really want to screen this movie. Like, do you want to go to a screen? Like, do you want to come to a screening and like introduce it?" And he thought it was like some big joke or whatever
Yeah.
that people were just like making fun of him or whatever. And he thought like that people were just coming to like make fun of this movie at the most.
Hmm.
And but after seeing the positive reception, because people would be cheering and like loving like how
Hmm.
crazy this movie is, and it ended up leading to them like like doing like that Blu-ray, and then they got the whole cast to come back together and then talk about it, sort of thing. And most of the people in the movie, I don't think, ended up having very
No.
successful careers outside of this movie. So um, I overall, it's not a good movie by any means. I'm not going to say it's a quality movie or competently made. It's terrible acting, but I think you said it perfectly. It's got a lot of heart to it.
Hmm.
It's a movie that is very unashamed of like what it's trying to do, but it's just going in like the completely wrong way about it on almost every level, and it almost kind of makes it a little endearing. And just as somebody that has lived in Orlando, it's just kind of funny to see like a whole movie like based around that town, because it's just you don't feel like you see a whole lot of stuff movies like that.
No, not filmed in Orlando or anything, or like it filmed and taking place there. I think that's part of the charm for me. If you're familiar with the area, I think this is a must watch for anybody who's lived in Orlando. I really do. Like, I think it's just fun to watch it for that reason. But I think it's also just a fun movie. It's a classic bad movie. Like, it's just bad all around, but just a really great time. And not a bad movie trying to be a bad movie. It's a bad movie trying to be great, which makes for the best bad movie. So yeah, no, Miami Connection is a lot of fun. So I'd recommend watching it.
Same here. Definitely give it a recommend. So, Nathan, what are we going to be watching next time?
Well, Ryan, let's put a little cap, a little end on this month. I've had a secret theme this whole time. We're going to be
Oh
covering
my God.
1987's Flowers in the Attic. And just to let you know, Flowers in the
Oh,
Attic
oh no.
stars Louise Fletcher. It's been Fletcher month, of course, celebrating the
Oh my
career of
God.
Louise Fletcher.
Oh my God.
Whoa, whoa,
Oh.
what a Isn't that crazy? What a weird, you know what? It honestly just came out that way. I picked two movies and I was like, oh, they both have Louise Fletcher. I guess I might as well end
What?
the month with it.
Well, that's what turned out for me and Kevin Nash. So
Yeah,
that
which is
one
so
time,
fun.
I picked two random movies that Kevin Nash, and I'm like, oh well, might as well.
Which is
And
so
then,
funny out of like out of all the people in the world. But yeah, we Flowers in the Attic is streaming over on Tubi. But Ryan, what are we covering on Thursday?
well, Nathan, we are going to be talking about the movie Body Slam,
Ooh,
and that is streaming on Tubi right now.
awesome. I'm excited to body slam that movie when I watch it.
Oh yes,
Hmm.
but if you have any thoughts and opinions about this podcast, please email us over at driveanddoubleFeaturePodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow our Patreon account at patreon.com/drive and double feature podcast and check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/drive and double feature. But until next time.
Until next time.